Welcome to the Tactical Business Podcast. I am your host, Wade Skalski, and today we are joined once more by my co-host, John McCoy. John, how are you today, sir?
I'm doing great. It is sweater weather here in the Heartland, so couldn't be better.
There was a slight tinge of cool air today when I was taking my dog out at 5:45 this morning, and I got blankets for both of my children to take them to school today. So it makes them comfy cozy in the car, so it encourages them to go. So yes, I share with you. We're not cold yet, but we're getting there.
Does it get cold in Virginia Beach?
It does, yeah. It snows here every once in a while.
I didn't know that.
Like every 3 years we'll get some snow.
Okay.
And it's funny because everyone has a complete meltdown.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm from North Dakota, so I call my dad, and I always tell my dad laughs and laughs because I had an eye appointment one year, and they called me up and like, we're gonna have to reschedule your eye appointment on Friday, and this was like Wednesday. I'm like, why? They're like, it's gonna snow on Friday. I was like, all right, very well, very well. All right, so that made my dad laugh, but different areas. But
yes.
but it's cool. It's getting fall weather, which actually is going to help us kind of chat a little bit more today because it's a lot easy to conceal carry in the fall than it is in the heart of summer.
Yes. Yep. When you have your 4-inch inseam shorts on, kind of hard to carry.
Yep, exactly. When you've got your Miami Vice, neon runner shorts on, like you wear, that I know that you do.
You know me too well.
I do. Well, look, we got a lot of cool stuff to talk about today, and let's start with this Tyrant Designs. I actually really enjoyed learning about this.
Yes. So I was actually at Academy eyeballing a Glock 43X. A couple days ago, I bought a little Ruger LCP because we were talking offline. I'm a very lazy concealed carrier, so I needed something I put in my pocket. But those were there, and I really liked them. And then just so happens that we are talking about this magazine extension for them. It's a +4 mag extension for the G43X and the G48. And these are not cheapo polymer. These are actual, I think they're aerospace grade aluminum. So they are milled aluminum, and they're awesome. I like them.
Yeah, I think the cool thing about when you have the aluminum on there is that your mag drops faster, right? It's just everything kind of like comes out of there. And the only thing that gives me pause about this, which it shouldn't, but I am not very super handy, right? And so this does require the usage of some tools, even though it's extremely simple to do, right? So
you can just send your mags to me, Wade. I'll put it on.
I don't know. A true craftsman wouldn't do that. He has to trust his own tools, right? So trust his own, and trust his own magazines. But yeah, what do you kind of walk me through the thought process that you have of why you would use one of these and why you think they're so cool?
More is gooder. That's my thought process. More is gooder. No, seriously though, I actually did the same thing when I used to carry a Glock 27. But it was about like carrying a brick on my waist. It was very heavy. And although I think you carry a 19, so which is just insane, but that's awesome.
Why is that insane?
Because that's so big to conceal carry.
Bro, when I started conceal carry, I started with 17.
That is insane.
I was appendix carrying a 17 when I started.
I don't even understand how you could do that. That's just crazy. Anyway, so I had a 27 and I did a mag extension. I can't remember the brand. For one thing, for smaller pistols, which I think the 43X and the 48 have a full length grip already. But for the 27, it was really handy to have the mag extension on there for my pinky. Because it was kind of hard. It wasn't bad, but it had a little bit of snap if you're firing full power 40 caliber rounds. It was kind of hard to shoot it really well when only 3 of your fingers are on it. So that was really nice. And I think the extension I had was 2. This takes these up to a 14 round mag in a really slim and pretty small package. But then, especially if you have giant gargantuan banana hands, this allows you to get your whole hand on your pistol. And since it's, with a slim pistol, it still is it's pretty small, pretty easy to carry. So that's my takeaway. And with the colors, it just looks cool. And aesthetics matter.
Yeah, well, the website is Tyrant, TYRANT, CNC.com, and they do make extensions for both the 19 and the 17, right?
Nice.
So yeah, so you do get the one thing that I for me as someone who doesn't shoot as much as in my over my life as some other people, right, is that the weight, right? So if the gun is a little heavier, yes, the weight part of it is more kind of a pain in the neck when you're carrying it, but when you're shooting it, actually, obviously, a little heavier gun helps with a little bit with this with the recoil a bit. At least that's what I find is
Hmm.
a little heftier gun, and so
Yes.
adding a couple more rounds. If you want to do that for the 17 or for the 19, depending upon what you're carrying, obviously that's going to be, it's going to be very good. And then from a tactical perspective, obviously you don't have to reload, right, as fast if you've got more rounds in the chamber. So
And from a tactical perspective, it comes in gold and red, silver, black, and blue. And this is anodized aluminum, so it looks really cool.
yeah, and they don't just have on their website, they don't just have the extended magazine. They've got some pretty cool triggers. They've got they got they got some cool stuff on their site. So it's not just the extended mag itself.
I could
Um,
definitely get lost down the AR-15 rabbit hole on their site. This could be
because and it's
dangerous.
not just the Glock either. They've got the Hellcat
Yep.
series magazine release extended on there. Let's see what else they got on here. They got some AR upgrades. I mean, they do have some Gucci McGucherson stuff on here. I'm trying to see handgun upgrades. So yeah, so if you want to, and especially obviously for your Glock and everything, they've got a little bit of everything going for you here. So that's cool. Let me see. They've got Glock, Sig, Smith and Wesson, Springfield, and Heckler. So they've got a little bit of everything. What do you feel about in terms of from concealed carry? If you're going to extend out the butt of the handgun, right? It's going to make it a
Mhm.
little bit more difficult to conceal, I guess, depending upon where you're carrying.
Yeah, like you said, it's cool weather. It makes it easier.
Yeah, and I don't care as much anymore.
Yeah.
I used to really care. And then the one thing I think maybe you said it, or I don't know who I was talking to, but nobody's paying any attention to you.
No.
The
Yeah,
only
no,
people that are
honest.
paying attention to you if you're carrying are if other people are carrying.
Yes.
Do you know
Yep.
what I mean? And
Yeah.
so like now when I go to like the off chance I go out to like a big box store or something, I do now recognize there are a lot of guys that are wearing crossbody fanny packs, right?
Yes.
Whereas like back in the day, I'd be like, that's not very masculine, right? Well, now it's like, oh, that guy's got a gun in there.
Is Virginia a constitutional carry state?
No,
Okay.
you have to have a permit to
Okay. So
you have to have a concealed carry permit.
Kansas is open carry and constitutional carry. So I mean, you really don't give it any thought. You'll see two or three guys open carrying at Walmart every time you go there.
Well,
I mean, it's just very
you can open carry here.
okay.
Yeah,
And
but
go ahead.
no, I was saying, but you need to conceal carry. You need a to be legal to not roll dirty. You've got to have a permit.
Yeah. I think I kind of started carrying an outer waistband holster when they went with open carry, even though I never. Well, and then when I let my license lapse here because they went to constitutional carry, and with both of those, I carried an outer waistband, and I had my shirt untucked like a slob, so you can't see it anyway. And I mean, I don't think anyone is really that interested. And I definitely during the winter, I have an old Beretta Nano, and I put the extended mag in there because I can actually hold the whole thing. I still don't think anyone really notices. And if they do, no one cares.
Yeah, well, and I think for me personally, the one reason why I conceal and not open is because it it anytime a firearm is introduced to a situation, even if it's holstered, it escalates the situation,
Yes.
right? And so and that's just how I view it personally. And again, my way is not the best way. It's just how I look at it. That's the great thing about firearms is that there's such depth to it that everyone can, as long as it's legal, everyone can take their own way about how they want to do it. So that's just my personal choice. But I would say is if that may change depending upon if things start to get super spicy, then you
Hmm.
may want people to know that you're carrying, just depending upon the state of the union, if you will. So, but
Yes.
yeah, these are cool. And again, if they want to send us some, and I'll do a since I do carry a Glock, both.
I'll have an excuse. I think they carry M&P stuff too, but I guess that gives me an excuse to buy one just in case.
Yeah, exactly. So, and they do actually, they do look cool because they do come in the different colors, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
so I think that's pretty cool. So, all right, cool.
I
And
bet,
again,
babe, I know this is a business purchase. I need to get this Glock. This is a need. It's not a want. It's need. Okay.
I'm thankful that you were just doing a role play there to your wife because I thought you were addressing me as babe.
No.
I'm like, we're not there yet, buddy. I don't wear the fanny pack across the chest. I conceal carry like a man, FBI strong side. Thank you very
Eh,
much.
and
Easy
I don't know if
there.
this is still valid, but I assume it is. This is a fairly seasoned article, but they also offer a 5% mill and law enforcement discount. So
Cool.
covers half of tax anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's move on. And the website is again tyrantcnc.com, TYA or TYRANTCNC.com. And the last thing I'll say about this too is that since we do have like we are a business podcast, is that them offering it in the colors, uh, they kind of get two different groups of people, right?
Hmm.
Because they're going to get your concealed carry people, or maybe you want to take it to a range and you just want to have more bullets, right?
Yes.
And they do it in the black or whatever. But the fact that they do it in the colors is like you may not even be concerned with the wanting the more rounds, but you just want to be able to add some flair, right, to your gun.
Yes.
Like
Yes.
office space, you don't have enough pieces of flair on your firearm. So you got to get some on there. So I think that is from a marketing perspective, your traditionalists might poo-poo the colors, but there are people who just like to trick out certain, they'll have their trick out gun, right? Which is they're like, this
Yes.
is my magic gun. This is my +4, clockinator that I take. And I think that's really smart from a business perspective. So
I want to build a Glock 19 clone that is the most gaudy piece I possibly can, like the gray and white urban camouflage for the frame, and then like a gold trigger, and then kind of like that iridescent rainbow for the barrel, like just the ugliest piece in existence.
do
That's an aside, not
and then are you
important.
going to do a threaded barrel and then do like a 3D printed, the worst suppressor ever, like a
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
Hello Kitty suppressor?
Ooh, that's terrible. Yes.
I would make a Hello Kitty handgun just just to cause a ruckus at the
Just
range,
because it's
right?
horrible.
And just be like, hey man, can you and then go to the range master, be like, hey, can you help me out with this? I'm having a problem with this. What do you think is going on with this
Oh,
gun?
you gotta thread on actually a giant compensator if you're running like a 9 millimeter, and just have this, a compensator for a 10 millimeter on there.
Bro,
This
I think we just found an awesome content idea where we prank people, where we make like the gaudiest awful guns and then have like a small little problem with them and take them in and be like, and they won't even touch them. Like, here, what's with this
ugh,
Hello Kitty gun? That'd actually
I'm
be
gonna
pretty
get
funny. Pretty funny
I'm
for
gonna get tetanus from touching that. Ugh.
that'd be a pretty funny reaction videos. My mind's clicking now. My mind's clicking now.
I
All
don't
right,
hate
cool.
it.
It's not a terrible idea. Just stay with me more for more marketing gold ideas. All right, let's go next. Let's talk about some lights. Some lights.
This is good because I run a, oh God, which one do I have? I gotta Google it. I can't remember which one I use.
It's
I
worth the
use a
Google.
Streamlight. It is worth a Google, so I don't speak out of turn. I use a TLR 3. That's right. Great light. I run out my nightstand gun. Um, I have never had a any issue with it. It is fantastic light, and it's an older one too. This article is pretty old, so I don't know if they've updated it again. But basically, the gist of it was that everyone already had holsters for the TLR ones and twos, and and Streamlight's like, well, we're updating all the electronics on these, but everyone already has the holsters for them. So the gist of this was that they were still making them on the exterior identical, but just upgrading the guts. But this is almost 5 years old, so they probably have updated them again. Um,
Well, they're already on the TLR 8 by now, I think, right? Or the 7.
I'm on Streamlight now,
Yeah, I'm looking
probably.
at they're on the 7. Yeah, I mean, the one thing about how do you charge your light? Or is it a charge or is
Nope,
it
no, it's
battery?
batteries. See, it's got the CR123 in it.
In which do you have a light that charges? Because do you have a preference one way or the other?
I do have a Streamlight that charges. It's not attached to a gun. It is, hold on, let me look up which one I've got. It is ridiculous. That thing is brighter than the sun. I am this.
Yeah, I think it's kind of cool. I'm torn on the charging versus the batteries, right? Because from a tactical perspective, batteries can store for a long time. If you lose power, then it's hard to charge it. You got to hook it up to a
Oh yeah,
generator.
Stryon. I have a Stryon. It is a Stryon HPL, if you want to look that up. And it is so freaking bright.
It's incredible. It's incredible how bright these lights can be now. I mean,
Oh,
and I know people, they are like, don't put a, oh, well, are you pro light on your gun? Or are you like, don't put a light on your gun? Where do you
I have
come
one
on that?
I have my nightstand gun. Absolutely. Why wouldn't I?
Yeah. Well, I
If
mean,
something's going bump out there, I'm a deep sleeper. All right. I want those as little thinking as possible.
well, I agree with you. I mean, some people will say, one, you don't want to give away your position. Two, you know, you want to have a separate light so that you can point it, so you're not always pointing your gun to see what's making the bump, right? And so,
Yeah,
yeah, but I think those are both silly because
totally.
number one is that if I'm pulled my gun out, there's a reason why I want to be pointing it at things,
Yeah,
right?
I'm not pointing it out for fun,
Right,
you
number
know?
one. And then number two is how bright these lights are. If you have an untrained person rolling into your house and you shine one of these lights at them, what are they going to do? What's
Yeah,
their reaction going to be,
they're
right?
stunned.
Yeah, they're going to be like, what? It's going to take them a little bit to figure that out, and that half second or whatever it is all that you need to be able to start putting some rounds down range if it's a threat. And
Also, I'm not an operator. I don't train that often to where I'm going to competently use a flashlight in one hand and a gun in
yep,
the other. I don't
yep,
do that. This
correct,
is a gun that I keep locked under my nightstand for an emergency.
right,
And I let's enter the real world here where when you wake up at 3 a.m. because you were up with the baby and you're tired as hell and you hear something, you're not thinking that well. You'll forget the other light, or you'll shine yourself in the eyes with it, or
right,
God knows what else.
right.
Just put a light on your gun for Pete's sake,
Yep.
Just do it.
I
It's
don't
great.
have I don't have a light on my ADC. Do you have a light on your everyday carry
No.
for your concealed carry? I
I
don't
no, I
either.
actually have a little pocket. I have a Streamlight that I put in my pocket for that. It's one of the little it uses like two AAA batteries and it's very bright.
Yeah, I don't carry one on my AC, but yeah, at home my bedroom gun. That's the Glock 17's in the bedroom, and the Glock 19 is the EDC. But I think it's the way that I charge the one is a charge. You can just plug it into the computer and charge it,
Yeah,
and
so
that's
that's what my Stryon is. It's a USB charged one.
yep.
But I mean, dude, I've never even charged the thing. I've had it for years and I've never even had to charge it. It's
Really?
ridiculous.
Well, do you
Yeah.
not use it ever?
It just sits up above my nightstand usually.
I always
I
check it every once. I mean, I have to
I
check it
do
kind of.
because, I'll shine one of the kids across the pasture and they start yelling at me because they can't see. Sorry, kids, for the greater good.
Not with your gun. You don't point your gun at them.
What? No, I'm just kidding. No, no, I was talking about my other one.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
yeah, I
Okay.
pull my gun out once a month and
Yeah,
check it.
shit. Yeah, I pull my gun out once a month, point it at my kids. Yeah, no safety. No, that's not what
Don't
I'm
do
saying.
this, kid. Do what
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
say, not I do. No, no, I was
I
talking
changed all
about
my batteries on the first. I changed all my batteries and everything on the first of the year and on July, and then in
nice.
July, just automatically, it's changed
Yeah,
my
no, I was
battery.
talking about the rechargeable
Oh,
one
the
is
one
the
that's
Stryon. It's the
rechargeable. Yeah,
handheld.
yeah, yeah. Okay, all right. I was like, you're two times today. We're not in sync right now yet. I don't know. It's the week because of the weekend or something. But I thought you called me babe. I thought you're pointing a gun at your kids. I'm like,
I did call you babe.
John, are you trying to get kicked off? Are you trying to get kicked off the podcast, man? Because I have that power. I have that power.
I can do this, John.
Yeah, I mean, Streamlight obviously very, and it's streamlight.com, very easy website to find. They've got a million different options.
I will say,
Um,
so my first tactical flashlight I bought a long time ago was a Surefire, and I transitioned to Streamlights, and I couldn't be happier. I think they're a better product.
and what is it about them that make them a good product in your eyes? Like, what are the things that you just like about it? They're like, oh, this is good. Like, they gives it the quality.
That's just, I don't know. They're just a really high quality equipment. Like it's just good stuff. And I mean, what I love about the having a TLR on your pistol is that it's common size. So every holster manufacturer makes a holster for that.
Yeah, and
I
that is one thing about accessories is that the advantage of going to a larger producer
yeah,
is that the especially for your everyday carry holster, something inside the waistband, you really have to have the fit perfect
yes,
for retention
yep.
purposes, right? Like you don't want any wiggle on there. You want it just right. And so that is a huge advantage of going to somebody for like Streamlight for one of your lights.
Yeah, it's and I mean they're just it's just great stuff. I mean operators in Afghanistan use Streamlight for years. That's good enough for me because I'm taking a walk in my backyard while my dog pees. Okay. That's if it's good enough for them hunting, the Taliban, it's good enough for me watching, Mr. Sparkles take a whiz.
Right. Is your dog's name Mr. Sparkles?
No.
You almost got kicked off the podcast for a third time, dude.
Oh, that's my third strike. I'll
No, you
stop.
get a lot. We're playing cricket. I think you get like
Oh,
15 or
okay.
16
No one
strikes.
knows what the rules of cricket is.
That's so just make it up. Yeah, so the website is streamlight.com. Yeah, and the one thing though that this does show is that even though the stuff that we were looking at was a little bit older, is that they really very easily could have just said, we're not going to upgrade our old stuff. You have to buy our new stuff. We're going to discontinue all this, and you're just going to have to upgrade your holsters, and we don't care, right?
Yep.
But
And
that's
they
not.
didn't, they still have the TLR ones, twos, and threes.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that is very cool that they did that. That actually shows me something from a business perspective, because again, when you're making decisions in your business, like, okay, are we going to discontinue something? Are we going to continue to give support for it?
You're invested.
Yeah. Well, and for a firearm, like if I get my firearm just right and I'm putting 10,000 rounds through it or whatever, how many rounds I've put it over, like, let's say like 6 years, 7 years, whatever. I don't want to change it. Like it's perfect.
Right.
I get it. And maybe the newer lights, I don't like something about it. Maybe the tension on the little paddle that you press to turn the light on or whatever is a little is too sensitive. Whatever. Like there
Yep.
are people out there who like just don't want to change it and that's a safety issue. It's like if I have everything exactly how I want it works exactly like I want it to work. That's a big deal. And so I think that's really cool that they continue to support that. Personally, I think
Agreed.
that's cool. So all right. And so again, the web light is the web light.
The web.
I'm telling you, man, I don't know what's going on with me lately. I've got to start taking some brain vitamins or something. Uh, streamlight.com, normal spellings. All right.
Highly endorse them. I love my Streamlights. Really good product.
All right. Let's go on to talking CZ.
That is a Gucci rig right there. So
All
this
right.
is the CZ Shadow 2 single action, and is basically it is a super high speed single action CZ 75, which is basically just a Browning high power, but made in Czech Republic, but
Yeah,
imported to Kansas City, Kansas. Thank you very
so
much.
let's walk through people. Maybe they don't know what a single action is. Walk us through what that is.
Okay. So double action is where you can pull the trigger without the hammer being cocked, and it will manually pull back this hammer for you. And then it'd be, like a Beretta 92 or an M9. And then every subsequent shot after that, it would be a single action, unless unless it's the 1990s and you have a double action only semi-automatic. They did those because police departments were transitioning away from revolvers. I don't know if you knew this or not, but that's why double action only semi-autos were actually pretty common in the early 90s. They were getting away from the Smith & Wesson K&J frame pistols that have been standard sidearms for years. So the old guys, it was an easier transition point for the triggers, what they were used to. So that is that. So a single action will be a 1911, be the most famous example. This one is the CZ 75 is a double action, single action, but they went with single action only because this is a race gun. This is a competition gun. So the benefit is it's a very light trigger that is consistent every pull, which if you're a competition shooter, you want that, because otherwise the double action, the single action, your first pull is really heavy, like 10 pounds. And then every pull after that is going to be light, like 3 or 4 pounds. So single action, you have to manually cock the hammer the first shot but then every shot after that is cocked by the slide.
Yep. And
Hopefully
I
I cleared
think
that up.
It does. Well, yeah. I mean, this might be for some people who I did. The reason why I asked you is because you always have like a little history lesson in there of something I didn't know. So I didn't know the transition from the 90s to the, from the
Yep.
for the police.
Hmm.
And one thing I like about this is wait again, and this is positioning, right? So they've positioned this pistol as a out of the box, ready for competition, right?
Yes.
And so it's the perfect gun. So say someone like me who like I'm going to the range, I'm going to the range, I'm going to the range, I'm going to the range. I'm doing very well. I feel super confident now, and I want to go to the next level on something. But I don't like I think about precision shooting, for example, with the long rifle, is that there's so much gear and such a rabbit hole of trying to figure out, well, what am I going to shoot for my first gun, right? And
Hmm.
what if I don't like it, right? So am I going to spend $10 million on a gun, for a precision rifle, and then never use it, right? So if it's cool that they have it, that CZ has an entry level pistol that is like, nope, you pull it out of the gun, you can take it down to the competition, and you can do okay, right?
I'm looking to see if they still have the single action. Uh, I'm looking to see if they still make this actually. Let's see here. Shadow 2 SA. I'm actually not sure that they do.
Well, you can still buy one though.
Yeah, you can still
Obviously, you
buy
can.
one. Um, but yeah, it looks like they actually dropped the single action one. They'd have the Shadow 2, which is and actually their entry level prices for a competition ready gun are not bad because MSRP on the Shadow 2 black and blue, it's a double single, it's only 1,099, which means the street price is lower than that. And optics ready is 1,299. So I mean those are pretty affordable for a competition gun.
Are you sure they don't still offer it? I think they do. They have
I'm
to.
looking for the single action. I don't see it.
Shadows.
Okay. It is the CZTS2,
Yeah.
and it is a little different than what we're reviewing, but it's the same basic thing.
They have the Shadow 2 Compact right here.
I went to the competition tab for their pistols.
Right here. CZ Shadow 2, optics ready.
Yeah, but it's a double action, single action.
Oh, copy, copy. Oh, yeah, here we go. Well, you can probably get it much less expensive now.
There you go. We're here for the
CZ.
people, Wade.
Well, if you're gonna start into something, go get a used one, right?
Yes.
And
Yeah, and
so,
they're P10, so it's their Glock clone. Um, competition ready. The MSRP is only 799, so the street price will be less than that, and that's very good.
yeah, that's super good.
And I
And
do want a CZ. I think they're cool. I just think
what?
they're cool.
Why do you think they're cool? Like, what is it about them that makes you think that they're so cool?
I don't know. It's just one of those things. They're just a cool pistol.
Do you have like Turkish? Do you like Turkish delights? Is that what it is,
I
or is
do
it
like
like?
Turkish delight. Actually, it's delicious.
And then,
But they're Czech.
are they Czech?
Yeah, CZ.
I'm just kidding. That whole area of the world is all the same to me. It's like one big, massive Eastern European people.
I just
Uh,
think they're cool. I really like their lines of their pistols. I just think they're slick. I like the Browning high power and all of its many descendants. I think is just the coolest lines. Just a cool
the
pistol.
the one thing about this too is that, um, and we've talked about this before, but I think you can have a lot of confidence going out of the country for your firearms because of, especially for these bigger brands, just because the machining and the manufacturing has become so much better
Turkey
than,
produces some killer good pistols for cheap.
yeah, yeah. And the same with the CZ. It's like I would never really worry. I feel like there's the CZs are pretty dependable. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And basically what they're doing is they're using platforms that have already been proven. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just you know what I mean? So
Oh
it's
yeah.
it's it's not like they're making something up.
No.
Their own new thing. It's like it's not like a version of the what was it back in the day in the Soviet Union? They had the car that
Oh,
can't
the
remember.
Yugo?
The Yugo. No, was it the Yugo? Yeah, I got the Yugo. And
Hmm.
it's like there's making up a car. It's like we're
Yeah.
just gonna make up a car that doesn't work. Like, all
It
right, very
didn't
well.
work very well. No.
No, it did not.
No, it
Um,
was a real turd.
and so yeah, and I think it's cool. Like again, and this is from a marketing perspective, this is really good First of all, the gun just looks cool, right? And
Yes.
the Shadow series just looks cool because they have the matching trigger and the on the what's going on with my brain right now?
I don't know. Maybe she need some more fish oil, Wade.
The casino has a stippling on the I need some more fish oil or something. What's going on with me
Frame.
today? Yeah, on
There we
the
go.
no,
Grip.
on the grip. Yes, thank you. The
You're
grip and
welcome.
the trigger match, and it just looks cool with the black. And
Did that take away one of my strikes since I helped you out there? I gave you
it
an
did.
assist.
It
All right,
did.
good.
And I'm not, I don't. It's not like I'm like super hungover or something. I don't drink anymore, so it's like I'm very like with it,
I don't
right?
either.
So I don't know what's going on. So yeah, and it's just again, but if you, it's a cool looking gun. So you would, for a gun like this that you would want to take to a competition, it looks cool. It also, if you take it to the range to use it, it just looks cool. It's like when my daughter was going for swimming, and my wife was like, "Hey, should we really buy her these really expensive goggles?" I was like, "Well, if you look fast, you swim fast, right?" So
Exactly.
when you're competing, you want to be confident in your gear, but you also want to look good because actually studies have been done that if you're dressed um, well, you just naturally have more confidence. It creates
Yep.
confidence for you that you wouldn't normally have in a situation. And the same would go for shooting, right? Like if you're
Hmm.
like, oh man, I love this gun and I love how it looks, I feel good and I've used it and it's just like out of the box, it's good. Like it will actually make you a better shooter for
Yep.
competition, right? Now I don't know if that's really going to help you in the, you know, the things are getting sporty and you need it for self-defense, but it is a cool gun in that way. And it's very cool positioning for them as well because it just makes you a competition shooter by buying it, right?
Yes.
Versus I had to go through this long education bridge of figuring out what kind of gun do I buy? Do I take it apart? Do I build it myself? Like you may not have those abilities. And so you can just literally just buy this gun and they're selling competence, right? And I
Yep.
think that's a really smart, I think it's like out of the box. It's, you can use it. I think it's a very smart.
Selling
Um,
competence. That is fantastic. That's a great line.
well, I
Really.
do.
That's a good line.
But that's what they're doing. You know what I mean? It's like you get to be you the moment you buy it, you're a competition shooter because you have a competition shooting gun that's ready to go. You know what I mean?
I dig
So
it.
yeah, I think
I
it's.
really need to head over to their plant in Kansas City and see if I can get a tour.
I'm telling you,
It's
tell
only an
them.
hour away.
Well, you should send them a link to the thing, and maybe if they're listening to our podcast, they can
Oh,
send you a VIP badge or something to go do it.
that is fantastic.
Send them an email. Say, hey, that was for free, John. All right.
Thank you.
Um. All right. So, anything else you want to talk about with the CZ?
No, check them out at cz-usa.com.
They got a lot of cool stuff over there. All right. Next.
Trijicon.
Dun dun
All
dun.
right. So it's kind of old news, but cool news. This one is about their 1x8 by 28 powered low to medium power scope selected by the Marine Corps as a squad common optic. Um, which I believe. So I think the ACOG is their. This is the VCOG 1-8 by 28. I think the ACOG is a standard rifle for the Marine Corps, like all the infantrymen, and then they've long since had a designated marksman for every squad. So squad is like 4 to 6 people,
Mm-hmm.
and so every squad has a designated marksman, who will be the best shooter in the squad, and then he will get a rifle with a magnification, like a variable magnification optic. So not actually, it's not actually a sniper. It's just the best shooter in the squad, and he is equipped a little bit differently. So I had actually a friend when I was in the Air Force a million years ago, and his brother was the designated marksman in his Marine infantry unit. So um, so I thought that was pretty cool. So that's what this is. This is for the squad's designated marksman.
So one guy
And
in the squad is going to get this guy.
yes, he's gonna be
Yeah.
the best shooter in the squad. So every squad of 4 to 6 guys has someone that scores the best. So that's who's gonna be the designated marksman. Um, so they've got the RFI, which is a request for information for all the military contracting types. Um, that had all the different stuff. And I'm not going to go through it because it's about 14 million pages long. I used to work in that arena. I was in aviation though. I wasn't a door kicker, but it was the same stuff. And I was like, oh, I have to read this whole RFI. This is insane. So basically, they wanted a super durable. This is the Military Times brief synopsis. In a nutshell, the U.S. Marine Corps wanted super durable 3-gun style variable magnification optic with a BDC reticle. So it says here also that the market is saturated with those, which they're right, but most of them are not actually sturdy enough for door kickers. So
Yeah,
that
the
is where
BDC stands for bullet drop compensator. So when you're thinking
Yep.
about it, it's not just like if you're going to have your crosshairs on a gun or you're going to have a dot, right? Like it actually has the little lines on it that will tell you that, for distance. Okay,
And
like
it's
if I
optimized for their bullet profile too.
for that gun, yeah, exactly. And so it would make sense that if you needed somebody, hey, we've got a sniper we got to take out, or we got something a little farther away than normal engagement distance, you're going to get your best guy on it, and wants to have the ability to kind of like, it's not going to help you with windage, but obviously, but it's going to help you with bullet drop. So I think that's, you're going to
I'm
want
glad
that.
you I'm glad you remember what BDC was because my brain was in automotive mode, which is
Mm.
bottom dead center, which the gearheads in the audience will know what that means. And I could not remember what BDC meant for the reticle. I was like, oh God, what is it? I was about to Google it, but you came in there and saved me.
It's worth a Google.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I no, and I think that one thing that is important is anytime that you are, and this isn't if we're going more on like the tactical side, not the tactical side, but more on the, all right, I got my AR, maybe I want to put a scope on it, right? That's going to give me some ability to go reach out and touch someone, but I don't want to have it make it and turn it into a precision rifle, right? So because you're
Hmm.
thinking about the distances that you're going to need if you're like, you wouldn't put this on your AR in your house, obviously, right? That kind of scope. Or would you, in your mind?
And it's got a 1 power setting, and that's the beauty of it is since it has a 1 power setting, you can use it like a red dot, and that's
Right.
that's why they went with that. But up to an 8 power. So they're in the RFI, it had to be good for 600 and 900 meter positive engagement. So, but with a 1 power though, you can use it like an unpowered optic, and I believe it's got that little red chevron. Um,
The only challenge is the reticle's really small because
yes,
it's more like a scope versus if you were to get for something, for me, for range of view, if I was going to have a red dot like that, I'd like to have a larger reticle because my old ass eyes have to pick that up in my house. You know what I mean? Right.
yes, yes.
And so I can keep both my eyes open and see it versus something that's a little smaller or looks a little smaller.
So Trijicon for theirs, they have a little upside down horseshoe and a red dot in the center of it. So for the 1 power setting, it's actually more like a red dot, and I believe it illuminates red. So for close range engagements, it's basically like a red dot.
No, but I'm saying the actual the circumference of the scope itself seems a little bit smaller than you can get like a big, you know what I'm talking about? Like
Oh
if you
yeah,
get
yeah,
a
yeah,
big red dot, the actual get the giant square.
yeah. I know what
So
you're talking about.
that makes
I
more
don't
of
know. The
us.
Marines put about 1 million rounds downrange every year. Lucky
Yes.
guys. So like
I'm not saying
they'll
don't get it, and I'm not saying it's not awesome. I'm just saying I personally would probably just get just one that's just a red dot with a gigantic Reader's Digest magnifier on it. Like a
right.
big circle about this big.
I mean, most the average infantry rifleman in the Marine Corps is 20 to 30 years younger than us too, Wade.
How dare
So
you?
I'm just there aren't a lot of 52-year-old infantrymen. All right. That's just
I'm 51. I will
there
not
aren't a
be
lot of
50.
51-year-old
I will not
infantrymen
be
either.
52 until next month. Thank you. Yeah, and so yeah, no, it is cool to be able to see, and I think that's one thing too is like where you if you are more on the tactical side, especially if you're more on the like the recce side of things, where you're like, okay, I want to get out in the woods and run around and know how to do that. Uh, throw a rig on and I think it would be a great option for a scope. Um, I think, and I don't think it's $1 million either.
It's looks like I'm on Amazon's Trijicon store, so the street value for that's gonna be around 2 grand.
Okay, maybe it is $1 million then. All right, so that's
Well, the
just those are
ACOG is like 1,200 bucks.
yeah,
Yeah, it's around 2 grand. So which means the government's spending about 8,000 a piece on them.
right, exactly.
That's a
And it
joke.
means they're probably making them for like 80, $85. All right, cool. Yeah, and I guess from that perspective, it really would be your one size fits all scope then, right? And so for your AR, right? If you're going to throw it on your AR, you're not going to need it for you wouldn't put this on a precision rifle necessarily, or do you think that
No,
you would? Yeah.
no, it's not.
Yeah.
No, this is
Um,
definitely AR specific. I believe the Marines, it's the HK 416 is what they have it on.
and so, and this is what always comes down to it too, is you're going to have like a, $600 AR, but you're going to throw a $2,000 scope on it, right?
For me personally, actually I got it for 120. My Vortex is fantastic. I love it. It is just fine. And I mean, I never fired the ACOG because I wasn't a combat arms in the military.
Mm-hmm.
So for the rest of us that were just qualifying with the M4, we used the aim point, whichever one they use. I can't remember. And it was cool. I mean, but $800 for a red dot is kind of ridiculous. So the Vortex's aim point knockoff is, in my opinion, just about as good. And I really like it.
I have a Trijicon. My night sights are Trijicon.
Nice.
Am I making that up? No, no,
No, they
yeah.
make night sights.
Yeah, for my Glock. Yeah, I have the 17. I have the Trijicon night sights on them. And
That's
so
rad.
they're pretty sweet, actually.
I I have night vision. I did some writing for them years ago and they sent me a complimentary set. So all you aspiring writers, write in the firearms industry because the companies will send you swag.
Every
Okay.
once in a while, they will send you stuff to do. That's
I've never
true.
written in any other market that has ever sent me anything ever. But firearms, they do. They send you stuff, which is super cool.
Yeah, and it's we're actually going to have an upcoming review of something that we got sent coming up here in about a
Oh
week.
yeah.
So I'm very excited about that.
Do you
All
have your
right,
white suit? Do you have your white suit jacket?
not going to be a white
Navy.
suit, but it might be a suit. So I might be wearing a suit when I do it. All right, cool. Well, and again, like I'm thinking to myself, if I was to ever, I do like the fact that you can kind of have close range to long range, because that's going to be the outside range of this scope would be the outside range that you'd be able to engage anything with your actual AR, basically.
Yes.
So it's actually nice because it gives you close and gives you far. So it's pretty awesome. All right, Trijicon.com, Trijicon.com. And last but not least, Leupold.
Mm,
Leupold.
very nice. Another very high-end optic. Now I don't think this promo is going on anymore because this
Don't talk.
article is
I told you before we started talking, we're not talking about the promo. We're just doing reviews. We're just pretending like we're not looking at that article and we're just doing a review. I'm waiting till the end. I'm waiting at the
oh,
end of the podcast to tell you that. So, because I just thought these were cool.
all right. So this is the Mark 5 HD, and I did open that up. It has, I'll just start with the street value. It's about a $2,600 scope. Very nice, very high end. If you don't buy a Leupold until you're good enough to afford a Leupold, you
And
know.
then, and this is for precision shooting. This is
This
this
is
is
precision
this is
shooting.
like we're going the distance on this bad boy.
Yeah. So I think it was so yeah. So that is forgot I was about to default to talking about the one in the article, but then I'm like, nope, that's a promo article. We're not Wade said we're not doing that.
I said that like
Okay.
three times.
You did. I heard you the third time.
I have it in a text message I sent you in the
I don't
Slack
read
message
those.
or whatever, or
I don't
Telegram.
read
In our
those.
Telegram message, I sent it to you.
Yeah, I ignore those.
I know you do. I know.
Just kidding. All right. So very high end scope, very good stuff. Now their hunting series are actually a lot more in the realm of what I would spend. This is not though. This is a precision scope. This is what you put on your rig that has a chassis on it, and you just spent $4,000 on the rifle because you can actually hit stuff a long way away. So it's a high definition scope. Um, yeah, it's really cool.
The one thing about the one thing I have learned from the podcast, because we had a really good interview with a precision shooting guy from Utah long range shooters or Utah precision shooters, is that it's a lot like make for precision shooting. It's a lot like making beer versus making wine, right? Whereas for
Hmm.
wine, it's the weather and the soil and the type of grape that you're doing, and there's all these like really soft intangibles, right?
Yep.
That are very hard to be able to put everything together to make a good wine. Whereas for beer is all about the process, right? So
Yes.
like you like legitimately you can give someone the recipe for whatever beer you want to make, and they won't be able to recreate it because they can't recreate the actual mechanical process of making the beer. And that's what precision shooting is that you remove every single aspect every variable that you possibly can, you control through the gear, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you narrow everything down so that there's almost no give anywhere, and that's where the cool kind of gearhead people part really like it, because it's like really technical in that way. And that's where something like a Leupold scope for that makes sense, because you're literally you don't want there to be any variance at all. You want the best possible scope that you can get that keeps its range, and you're able to what is it when you take a new scope out and you are going to dial it in, what is that called?
Oh gosh. Zero. Getting it zeroed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it keeps it zero. Am I having a stroke today? Is that what's happening?
Your face looks fine. I don't think you are.
So I went, oh, what is her name?
Yeah, you're drooling a little bit though. You might want
Yeah.
to get that checked out.
I don't know what's going on with me today. Anyways, yeah, and so that's the cool thing about when you start to go, and that's why people drop, and people are like, I will never spend this much money on a scope. Well, this is why they do, is because this is something where they just piece by piece on their gun, and they start to upgrade until they can hit something a mile away with ease every time. It's insane.
And this isn't for Uncle Buck who's going out and bagging his two doe limit with his trusty 30-06. This is very high-end gear. It gets put away in padded cases. It gets babied and pampered because it has one mission, and it's to hit a target that's 1,200 meters away. That's the size of a quarter, and that's insane. And that's really cool that you did an interview and have that kind of analysis. I've done some writing on it. I've never done precision shooting. To me, it's really kind of intimidating, and because there are just so many variables and factors in it. And it is a high end game. Although I know that you can get into it. I mean, some people take the 22 precision shooting super seriously. It's cheaper, but they get really into it.
Well, if you trick out your gun, and it literally is, once you are able to do the math, it makes it very attainable. Where he was telling me that you can get almost anyone to make long distance shots, right?
That's really cool.
It is
like
cool.
really,
His
that is
method.
cool.
Yeah, you should go back and listen to the podcast. It's really good. Yeah, because if you look at the price, for example, they're high. Leopold's, if I'm pronouncing that, I'm assuming they're in Germany,
Leupold.
right? Leopold.
Yeah, Leupold.
Sounds like they're in Germany. Leupold. Their highest product is like $3,300, right?
Yes.
And then all the way down to their entry level product is $299. Okay, so it's more than 10 times more expensive. But like you said, like a normal Uncle Buck taking out his rifle, going and getting his deer, he just needs something.
A 3x9x40 is ideal for that, because you're not making 1,000-yard shot. The average shot is 1 to 200 yards, and
Right.
you're going to bump it against a tree. You just need something that holds zero.
Yep.
When you're pumping it on your back. I mean, I'm looking at the reticle now for this thing, and I can't even, you have to have a doctorate to understand this thing. But, those guys, that's their whole life. That's their whole existence, is making those shots.
Yeah, well, and it's unfair to the animal to try to take a shot that far away.
Yeah, it really is.
What if you hit it in the hoof and maim it?
That's a very good point.
So you're doing hunting a disservice by trying to shoot animals that far away, right?
Totally.
Let me see here. But like you said, like, this is the depth of the firearm. Like, if this is your thing, you should definitely take a look at the scope, because
I mean, these are guys that they hand press all of their ammunition. And I mean, like, they have, I actually one of my employees was into competition shooting, and he wasn't married. So, like, that was his thing. And yeah, married guys, good luck with this. All right. And I was helping him load ammunition. And I mean, like, you're talking like very minute variances in types of powder and amounts. I mean, like, he's got this book that's like as thick as a thesaurus that's, giving the rundown. I mean, this is like, they press it differently for different ranges. I mean, these guys are really serious.
Well, and the reason why they do that is what I was talking about before, is that they they want to decrease the variance in every part of the firearm that they can.
Yes,
And when they're able to do that, then they can then count on the shot they're going to make, right?
exactly.
Because and that's yeah, look at this reticle. Good Lord.
Yeah, seriously,
I mean,
man.
how do you even see that with your eye? Like I'm gonna need like bifocals for my reading glasses for my glasses to be able to see that.
Yeah, I wasn't joking, man. Like that is intense. Anyway, Leupold
Super
makes really,
intense.
really great stuff. I mean, really great stuff. And I have no doubt that the Mark V HD is incredible. Hmm. I will
I'm
never
sh
own any firearm that is worthy of having that on it.
You never
Uh,
know, man. You never know, man. When you get older, you might want to like get into precision shooting or something, and then
that's true.
you find yourself, you know,
I collect postage stamps and online shooting.
you collect postage stamps.
No, that's just me. And
That's what happened when you're
that's
like
just
100 years old. Got it. Got
when
it.
I'm really old like you. Oh, sorry. You're like, and there's the end button. Goodbye, John.
Gen X, the eject button. Gen X is not old. Like I don't know what anyone's talking about. So, all right, awesome. Well, I mean, and that's we had some really cool. It's funny because we had like a nice. We went extended mag for handgun to light to competition to like we had a nice progression today. I like our
Yeah.
progression of different things that we're talking about. Anything that stood out to you today, or anything else you want to chat about?
I really like the I think CZs are cool. I think you have a great idea. I need to send them this podcast. Whoever views this, just ignore all the rest. We're very serious people, I promise you.
Extremely
Extremely
serious.
serious. CZ, I really dig their stuff. The mag extensions by Tyrant CNC, cool. Their whole catalog. If you go to look at those, check out the whole thing. They have a lot of cool stuff. Um,
Yeah,
Trijicon makes great stuff.
I like the one thing I do like about that Trijicon thing is that what it really does for your AR is that it is a one size fits all for you would if you put that bad boy on your AR, you it you wouldn't need to ever change it out because you could use it for like you said for close quarters or out to like as far as you can actually accurately shoot with your platform. So I think that's kind of cool that it does that.
Yeah, for one of my AR builds, I will be putting a medium power scope um like that on it. It won't be a Trijicon unless Trijicon wants to send me one.
Then you can review it. I'll review it as well. I'll throw it on my AR and see what's what.
Absolutely.
I mean, maybe I'm wrong with my I need my giant old man Reader's Digest reticle in it.
So
All right.
anyway, CZ, that was really cool. That and the extensions were my favorite. I've always been a handgun guy. I just think handguns are cool. I understand they're not, it's a backup thing, but man, they're just cool. Handguns are just cool, you
Well,
know?
I don't agree with your handgun is a fight to get your rifle because all gunfights are over before. If you look at
Yeah, this isn't
there's
Fallujah.
no
You're not
yeah
fighting
your
combatants.
gunfight's over. Like you're not getting to your rifle. And if there's a situation to where you need your rifle because of things are going south, you're going to have it handy.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I've always thought that was so dumb. These are guys that have nothing better to do. All they do is doom scroll, and they talk about them like it's two or three rounds and the fight's over because they're either done or they're gone because they ran away. All
Yep.
right. There is no fighting to get to your rifle. If you're there, then there's actually, a hot war has kicked off, either a civil one or we've been invaded, which will never happen. So no, that's just so dumb. That's so dumb. Have a good, oh yeah, Streamlight. Have a good gun light. Okay, there you go. Have a good gun light on your pistol and get proficient with your pistol. All right.
Yes.
And I mean, and I understand they've all talked about all the ballistic stuff. I know all of that when, rifle's better than a pistol. Well, if you fire off an AR inside your house, you just lost your hearing. Okay,
Yeah.
so congrats. Pistol caliber carbine would be great. 9 or 10 millimeter carbine or with 45, way higher velocity. Generally, I mean, they all use Glock mags now.
Well, a
Um,
pistol's just so much more versatile. Two things
yes.
about it is like you can't sling your AR to go to the grocery store. Like you're gonna even if in an open carry state, that will get some excitable looks if you do that,
Oh yeah,
right?
definitely.
And then
Yeah,
the other
people
thing
don't
too
think
is
about a Glock or a 1911 on your
uh,
hip, but you carry an AR in there, yeah, good luck. Cops
and
are going
from
to
a
show up.
safety, yeah, from a safety perspective, it takes a lot more to become proficient with a handgun than it does with a rifle from a time perspective.
Yes.
And just from a safety perspective, so just start there. That was a little disclaimer for everyone. But
yep, no, totally agree with you.
All right, brother. Well, I appreciate you. I get it's like the Princess Bride, right? Good job, Wesley. Most likely killing you in the morning. Good job, John. I guess we'll see you again. I won't kick you off the podcast again.
Thank you, Wade.
All right, brother. I appreciate you. Great gear reviews today, and I'm looking forward to us recording this one here soon. The other one that we're going to do soon.
Yes,
people are going to be excited about it.
Oh yeah, it's good. It's
all
good.
right, man. We'll talk soon.
See ya.